immigrants come over here and they don't know anything and they're dragging us down because we all come from immigrants, including you, Tomi Lahren.
She talks about low skills. What exactly are her skills?
Her second great-grandmother had been here for 10 years, yet spoke no English. Oh, my gosh. 1930 census says Tommy's 3 times great-grandmother had been here for 41 years and still spoke German. She didn't speak English either. She doesn't even know her own history. She certainly doesn't know.
Tomi Lahren didn't hold back. She called out Sunny Hostin for the ultimate hypocrisy after Sunny had the nerve to mock Tommy's ancestors. And yes, it gets even juicier. The shade that was thrown. Unbelievable. What's really happening behind the scenes? Stick around. We're diving deep into the drama. And trust me, the truth is going to drop jaws. Let's get into it.
Tomi, what led to that bashing on The View?
Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history in hopes of digging up some kind of a gotcha moment, a gotcha angle to validate illegal immigration and open borders. And what she found was really shocking, guys. She found that my family who came here in the 1800s from Norway and Germany, that they spoke Norwegian.
So, you're lounging around, casually scrolling through your social feed, maybe watching a cat video or two, when bam, you hit with a bombshell. Tomi Lahren, the queen of razor-sharp political commentary, isn't even on The View. Yet somehow, she's suddenly the center of a clash she didn't ask for. But let's be honest, she probably saw it coming.
She's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. Here's how she took the news. Roll it.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that.
Sunny Hostin, one of the co-hosts of The View, a show that often feels more like a firing squad than a panel, decided to take a jab at Tomi. Apparently, mocking someone's political beliefs is now a national pastime. But this wasn't a light-hearted ha-ha moment. No, this was a calculated dig aimed at Tomi's background, laced with a passive-aggressive swipe at her family's history. Sunny tried to play it off like it was just a witty remark, but it landed more like a slap wrapped in a feather, soft at first glance, but impossible to ignore.
Provide them with DNA, 23andMe, because I cannot believe the detail on your background that they were able to get.
Well, I don't have to. She did all the research for me, so I'm sure my family is very appreciative.
What about Joy saying, though, what are your skills? It's beyond research. It is personal. It is mean.
Well, of course, this is classical Joy Behar, but I would like to ask Joy Behar what her skills are, because perhaps we could swap stories. I know I watch Joy, and she seems like a highly skilled lady, but for her to attack me, that's really interesting.
YS Sunny didn't just peak.ak.ksroti a little persona history.ry. Maybe a touch O'Hower could you thin that? At. And a dash O Lukokatha. Doesn't she get it? It. All the while being that friendly.lie.h. Oh, we all just having foo, right? Sort off tone.neut, we know better. On we? That tone. It st psych the I'm only joking. I'm actually trying to ruin your life for veeb.nd. That's when everything hit fan because Tomi was nowhere near the View C-set UTO. She heard about it. You know it had to burn.
Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. And it is funny. She's so wrapped up in identity and she had no idea who she was.
If there's one thing we know about Tomi Lahren, it's that she doesn't just sit back when someone comes for her. Nope. Tomi isn't the type to simmer quietly in the background. She's built her brand on fiery, rapid-fire responses that hit harder than your mom's slipper when you got caught sneaking snacks at midnight. She didn't wait for an invite to the View stage. Instead, she grabbed her digital megaphone, aka social media, and went straight to the platform that made her famous in the first place. And trust me, you do not want to be on the receiving end of a Tomi Lahren clapback, especially when she feels you've crossed the line. We're talking full-on public takedown mode. One tweet, one story, and boom, the internet is ablaze. Picture it, Tomi typing away, probably sipping a double espresso, fingers flying across the keyboard like she's writing the next great political thriller. Every word is a bullet, every sentence, a direct hit. She's not just defending her views. She's launching a full-scale verbal offensive aimed right at Sunny Hostin's ever-smiling, hypocritical face. No mercy. No filter.
I'm talking about criminals and immigrants being criminals. And I just want people to understand what the facts are and the stats are, is that undocumented immigrants are much less likely to have committed crimes than American citizens. American citizens commit more crimes than anyone who is undocumented. I also want to make the point that an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal because he or she is undocumented. That is a civil offense. So to call people illegals is, in and of itself, I think, xenophobic.
And in classic Tomi fashion, she didn't stop at Sunny. Oh no, she went after the entire argument, tearing it down piece by piece with a perfect blend of facts, sarcasm, and that razor-sharp tongue. But here's the thing. Tomi wasn't pretending this was some casual let's just have a conversation moment. She saw the jab for what it was, an opening for some old-school digital revenge, and she lunged for it like a dog after a tennis ball. Tomi lives for this kind of fight. She thrives in it. When you poke the bear, don't expect her to growl. You'd better be ready for the roar. No face-to-face debate this time. Instead, she launched a tweet storm, an Instagram rant, and a full-blown war of words that would take a fire extinguisher to cool down. Tomi may not have been on The View, but rest assured, she made Sunny regret ever mentioning her name. What Sunny thought was a playful jab turned into Tomi's green light to go full jugular. The stage was set. The gloves were off, and we were about to witness one of the most explosive social media showdowns in recent memory. What started as a casual mention turned into a headline-worthy brawl, and the best part, we all had front row seats.
What she did is prove that my family came here legally, but what she was hoping to do was try to call me a hypocrite for believing in merit-based immigration. Again, she failed miserably. But this really isn't what she calls resistance genealogy. It's just another indication of Trump derangement syndrome. But I really am happy, though, that she has such a fascination with my family history, and I'm hoping that she will take on Elizabeth.
Now here's where things get really good. Tomi Lahren, the woman who practically trademarked the word clapback, wasn't about to sit quietly while someone took cheap shots at her. Absolutely not. She did what any self-respecting queen of digital warfare would do. She headed straight to Twitter, or Instagram, or whatever platform was ready to carry her voice like a siren through the internet. No phone calls, no polite emails, just a swift, cutting tweet that could start a wildfire. And let's be real, Twitter is the modern-day coliseum where reputations are made or destroyed. That Tomi's social media game is a finely tuned weapon. This isn't about posting selfies with coffee or a cat meme for the algorithm. No, Tomi uses her platforms to launch full-on verbal assaults. So when Sunny Hostin threw her little jab on The View, mocking Tomi's family history, politics, or whatever personal agenda she was pushing, Tomi wasn't about to respond with a polite "I disagree." She went full power play, and not just to defend herself. She exposed Sunny's hypocrisy like a reality show contestant revealing the villain's secrets before the final rose ceremony. Her response felt like a masterclass in digital retaliation, a fiery mix of political commentary and roast battle energy. You could practically hear her keys clacking like gunfire as she turned Sunny's insult into a scorching monologue on double standards. Sunny might have had her minute on daytime TV, but Tomi made sure everyone remembered who's playing 4D chess online.
Not just me, it's anybody who advocates for merit-based immigration or has an issue with open borders. And again, just like you said, they don't seem to understand that we on the right believe in immigration. We understand that we are a nation of immigrants, and I am proud of my heritage. However, I do believe that the immigration crisis of today is apples to oranges from what it was in the 1800s when immigrants came to this country legally, were documented, worked for themselves, asked for nothing, and built a life and a family. That has nothing to do with the illegal immigration crisis of today that we must deal with. But they don't want to acknowledge that.
And no, Tomi didn't stop there. Oh no, she went deeper, way deeper, like she was unboxing a surprise package from Amazon labeled Sunny's Hypocrisy, Fragile. Because here's the thing, Sunny Hostin loves to present herself as the moral compass of The View. She's the one who looks down from her soapbox, doling out life advice like she's writing the gospel of progressive perfection. But what happens when you hold that image up to the light? That's where Tomi stepped in, ready to turn Sunny's pedestal into a spectacular, slow-motion collapse. She pointed out the glaring contradictions between Sunny's polished public persona and her actual track record. Sure, Sunny loves to champion progressive values, but as Tomi reminded everyone, The View isn't exactly the gold standard of consistency or credibility. Have we all forgotten the countless times those ladies contradicted themselves in the same breath? Tomi didn't. In fact, she pulled receipts. She reminded Sunny and the world of every mixed message, every hypocritical stance. And she did it with the sharp precision of someone who doesn't just clap back, she educates with shade. Because when you're Tomi Lahren, you don't just argue. You dismantle. You don't just disagree. You flip the script, rewrite the narrative, and leave your opponent wondering why they ever came for you in the first place.
Democrats really want to die on the hill of bringing back plane loads of criminal, illegal alien gang members.
But you haven't proven that they're criminals.
Please.
That's the problem.
Be my guest.
Honestly, look, I will be the first one to say if there is a criminal, if there's a gang member in this country, someone who has committed any crime, big or small, get him out. Sure, I'll absolutely concede that. We don't need criminals in this country. But if you're talking about somebody who you don't know because you haven't afforded them due process, then you can't just make that claim.
But the fact remains, President Trump is not only securing our border, but he is deporting criminal, illegal aliens. And if Democrats want to stand in the way of that, and they want to tell their constituents, hey, vote for us in the midterms, vote for us in 2028, we'll make sure that the criminal aliens come back. Far be it for me to stand in your way. Continue that message.
But here's where things got extra spicy. Tomi didn't just call out Sunny's double standards. She flipped the entire narrative. Instead of dodging her own background or family history, Tomi leaned into it. Proudly, she made it clear, while Sunny was playing the moral high ground card on The View, Tomi had receipts showing her family's values were consistent, her beliefs unwavering. She wasn't just defending herself. She was challenging Sunny to take a long, hard look in the mirror. Before you mock someone's roots, their upbringing, or political lineage, maybe check the skeletons rattling in your own closet. Sunny, meet reality, and let's not forget The View itself. Tomi didn't hold back on the show either. I mean, come on, we're talking about a show that's become a playground for chaotic opinions, where dramatic pauses hit harder than the arguments themselves. It's a daily mix of personal soapboxes and emotional monologues disguised as meaningful discourse. Tomi wasn't buying it. She gave the whole setup that signature side-eye that screamed, "This ain't it, sis." She didn't just critique the conversation. She exposed the performance.
In love?
Of course I do, but I want to get to your question because this whole Trump is anti-woman thing, I just don't buy it. Because if he was so anti-woman, why did he select a female to run his campaign? If Kellyanne Conway had been a Democrat, you all at this table would have been applauding her, singing her praises. So if he doesn't like women, he's anti-woman. I don't think he would have selected a woman to
That's like
run
saying
his
all
campaign.
Jewish and being an anti-Semite. It has nothing to do with
I
one
trust
person.
women.
No, I think there's something to say. You're putting your money where your mouth is. You're putting your money.
So while Sunny may have thought she was delivering some televised truth bombs, Tomi was out there flipping the table, dropping receipts, and warning The View, if you're going to throw shade, you'd better be ready for the storm that follows. And oh, it hit. Tomi's online response didn't just trend, it detonated. The moment she fired back, it spiraled into a full-blown social media inferno. It was less spill the tea and more flood the timeline. Think Pandora's box, but instead of ancient chaos, it was a relentless stream of memes, hot takes, and keyboard warriors suiting up for digital combat. Tomi supporters rallied like caffeinated cheerleaders on game day, while Sunnis defenders, possibly mid-view binge, clapped back with everything they had. Twitter became a battlefield, Team Tomi versus Team Sunny, a no-holds-barred spectacle of snark, support, and receipts. And The View? They couldn't just stay silent. The panel had to respond, though let's just say grace wasn't exactly their strong suit under pressure. Sunnis co-hosts chimed in, sure, but not always in the way you'd expect. Some fumbled. Others tried to pivot. But when your show is being dragged across the internet by someone you didn't even invite on, you can't exactly pretend it's just another Tuesday.
I have a question of my own. Do you lock your doors at home? In your residence, do you have a lock on your door? Do you use that lock?
I do. Yeah, I do.
You have an alarm?
And why is that? I mean, you lock your door. You lock your door because you want to know who's coming into your home. It's not because you hate the people outside. It's because you love the people inside. Well, that's what needs to be done with the United States of America. That's why we have a border. We have a right to know who's coming into our country and why. That's what keeps...
But the real kicker, this whole situation exploded into something far bigger than just The View. It wasn't about Sunny and Tomi anymore. It became a full-blown media spectacle. Suddenly, everyone from left-wing bloggers to right-wing pundits was weighing in, turning what started as a jab into a national conversation about how public figures weaponize their platforms. It raised real questions. Where's the line between personal clapbacks and calculated brand warfare? In today's digital age, your online presence is your brand, and your brand is always on the line. This feud made one thing crystal clear. Tomi Lahren doesn't just respond. She strategizes. She used this moment not just to defend herself, but to dominate the narrative. Love her or hate her, you cannot deny her command of digital media. Her clapbacks weren't just spicy, they were surgical. In an age of echo chambers and fleeting attention spans, Tomi made sure her voice was not just heard, but remembered. That's power. Meanwhile, Sunny's carefully curated public image started to crack. The contrast between her polished persona and her pointed digs became impossible to ignore. What began as a throwaway comment on a talk show turned into a masterclass in social media warfare. So what's the verdict? Did Tomi win the court of public opinion? Or did Sunny's supporters dig in and turn this into a rallying cry of their own? Honestly, it's like watching two gladiators duke it out, except one swinging with Twitter threads, and the other with network airtime. Truth is, it's a mixed bag. Tomi landed real punches, no doubt. Her presence online is loud, sharp, and impossible to scroll past. But did she completely dominate? That's still unfolding. Every new comment Sunny makes becomes another spark Tomi can use to ignite another viral moment. One thing's certain. This isn't just another one-off drama. It's the kind of clash the media loves to feast on. And as long as social media exists, this story, it's far from over. The takeaway? In today's media landscape, personal history, hypocrisy, and unapologetic opinions aren't just content. They are weapons. And if this feud proves anything, it's that the battle for public influence is louder, messier, and more captivating than ever.